Hello, this is Jonathan Haber, a consultant working for IMS Global. In this series of videos, we're showing you how to create frameworks of academic standards within Case Network. In the first video, you saw how to create a framework. In fact, we created this framework. It's an empty framework now based on Virginia's Physical Education Standards of Learning. And we're going to be using information from this document, which is the original Virginia Physical Education Standards of Learning document, to populate our framework with all of the data in the document. Okay, so to begin with, your very top node in your framework is the title of the framework, in this case, Virginia Physical Ed Standards of Learning. Okay, and everything you add to the framework is going to become a child of this node. Okay, so in order to do so, first thing you need to do is to click on the top level node and then click Add New Child Item. This brings up a dialog box where I could specify all the information that's going to describe the first item in our framework. And the first item in our framework is going to be the grade level, kindergarten, which again I copy from this document and move back over here and I paste that label kindergarten into the full statement field. Okay. I can also specify metadata, such as the language for this item, which is English. I can also specify the grade level, which is kindergarten. And I can also specify item type. Item type defines what sort of item we're adding to the framework. In this case, it is a grade level, okay, kindergarten. So now that I've specified my data, my full statement, and all my metadata, I can click on Create, and I've created the first item in my hierarchy. Now, every subsequent item in the hierarchy that we add, okay, if it's going to be a child of kindergarten, we need to first specify that the kindergarten item is a parent. And I do that by clicking on the Make This Item a Parent button. This brings up a new item, add a new child item. That brings up the exact same dialog box that we saw before. Okay, so in this case, going back to my document, we're going to be adding motor skills development, which Virginia defines as a strand in the structure. So again, I paste this into the full statement. I also specify English and kindergarten metadata. I also specify a different item type, which is strand. And now I've got the next item in my hierarchy. Okay, I'll do it one more time. Click on Motor Skills Development. Click on Make This Item a Parent. Add a child. In this case, I'm going to add my first standard, which is this K1 standard, which again, I copy directly from the document and paste in here. Okay, but instead of copying K1 and putting it in the full statement, I'm instead going to add it to the human code. So this becomes a code associated uniquely with this full statement. And again, I need to add my metadata for language and grade level. In this case, this is a standard. One thing you'll notice that this brings up every item type that has the word standard in it. So I actually have to scroll down to find the one I'm looking for, which is just standard. Okay, and now I've got my K1 standard. And I'm going to go one level deep again, make this a parent, bring up my child item, and now I'm going to copy this sub item, which Virginia also refers to as a standard. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to copy that into my full statement field. Now you notice that this brought along with it the A. That happens very often when you copy from a numbered list. So I'm just going to delete it here. I'm going to add the human code here, but I'm not just going to add A, I'm going to add K1A, which indicates this is the first substandard associated with the K1 standard. And again, I'm going to specify language and grade level. And in this case, as I said, Virginia refers to everything as a standard that's beneath the strand level. So I'm just going to specify standard, and I've got my full hierarchy defined. Okay, I can keep going. I can add a second item. In this case, B. Okay, again, the B gets copied. I'm going to delete it. Instead, specify that the human code is K1B. And once again, specify language, grade level, and that this is a standard. Okay. Now, one trick that can make this things a little bit simpler is when you're working with a numbered list like this, You can actually get rid of the numbering in the Word document by just selecting everything in the numbered list and clicking on this numbering button, which turns numbering off. Okay, so now I can select an item, copy it, add it as a new child item, and you can see it doesn't bring the A along with it, which saves you a little bit of time. Okay, but I do have to still add my code here and have to make sure I remember it's K1C, specify the same item data, item metadata. Okay, and now I've got 3 items in my list. Okay, so that's one trick for making things a little bit quicker. You'll have to be a little careful to make sure you're selecting the right material if you don't have the numbering to guide you, but you can usually do that if you just pay careful attention to where sentences begin and end. That's one trick of a few that I want to show you when you're creating a framework, because you don't have to necessarily repeat that process with every single item, just like I did. You could just sort of build a framework one at a time for every single item throughout the entire standards document. But next video, I want to show you how we can use some of the copying functionality within Case Network in order to work a little bit faster. Thank you.